Either way,
Okay, I think it started now.
In case.
Yeah.
Which screen is recording? Are you sure it's recording this one?
I think so because you click the thing on this side. I think. Yeah.
So at the beginning of the meeting, I heard that all of you tried to run the test with Sinon and Chrome, but couldn't get it work. I think I had the same problems when I started learning Jasmine and Sinon. I have no idea why we need to use Sinon as well. Yeah, because I think it's quite a big jump when we jump from Jasmine to Sinon. But anyway, I get things working now. So currently, I have two ways of doing the test. One, both of them use Jasmine because it's there.
But also, Sinon itself does not have this like an automatic test case facility.
If you don't use Jasmine, then you need to use
something
else, or the tab thing. So we use Jasmine, and the first option is we don't really need to use Sinon as well. The reason, from my understanding, we use Sinon, or actually not just Sinon, because in Jasmine they also have like spy, so we use spy or stub or mock. The reason we use them because if in our code we have some code that not written by us, and those code it can take time to run and not reliable. For example, if you have an Ajax request to some server, and then sometime on one day that server dies, and then you never got the response back, then it will fail your test, which actually is not your fault. And then so even in Jasmine or in Sinon, they can create a spy or a stub, which is a dummy function.
In Jasmine, can also get stub.
You have spy.
It has only spy. Yeah, I think it's only spy.
Only spy, as far as I know.
Yeah. So it only gets the statics.
So you can say create a function, a dummy function, or it's called a test double function that can return the values as you want. For example, if you want to create an Ajax request to wherever that you want to request, I don't know.
Load data or logging.
Yes, so for example, you want to request the some data, so you can create a stub that always returns some data as you want. And then when you don't need to run the Ajax request, but you run that kind of stuff. So you make sure that even that server dies, you still get something from the stub. So
I think also give you the control of what you get back. You can always test when the server fails how your code responds.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
So you have, they said you have more flexibility. They say more flexibility in your code.
I have a question. Do you have any examples that you could show us by any chance?
Yeah. I will do, but I just want to say some high-level understanding about Sinon and the stub thing.
Yeah.
I will start with our Sinon Chrome. So I already pushed the latest code, and you can get it from.
Okay, so I think so because most of the things we currently do, we do not rely on, say, a backend server or something. So it's possible actually to not simulate these response. Actually, just use a real response from the browser. Essentially, we're mostly just using Chrome APIs. So we can use a real response from the Chrome instead of using Silo Chrome. So that's what Phong meant by, say, not using Silo Chrome.
Yeah. So this is our test file. Let me go through it again. So I comment out the Sinon library. We don't need to use it here. So you can see two files in the test folder. One is the normal test file, and the other test with Sinon Chrome. So I'm opening the normal test file. So I comment out the Sinon library. On the test now, I put in the specs folder. And we may use this naming convention because I just use it from the Sinon Chrome, the way they use it. What you want to test.test.js. So I create node.test.js. The purpose of it to test when you enter a new URL, can it create a new node in a history map? So that is to, can I open your node test files? Yeah, I'm talking about this one. So when you manually entering a URL, it should show a new tab, so show a new node in a history map. Okay, unit send map dependency, that's fine. Okay, this is more important down here. I comment out a lot of the files that we don't need to use. We don't need to put all of the semi-sub files here if we don't need to use them.
Okay.
The reason is at first because originally all the files are here, on the background, on the history map are here, and actually when you turn on the extension, it's running, so it duplicates all of the. So like when you open a new tab, then the event will go through the normal code and also go through the test code as well.
Okay.
So basically, you only include the files that you use. Currently, I just leave them here for explanation, but I will remove all of them later.
But did you mean say if you run the test in this file, it will not actually show a history map?
It will not show
Visually.
the history map
Okay.
because currently just means it cannot load the HTML file. So the history map is not, it will not be shown.
Okay.
But the tab will be created.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so now I will
Okay.
open the node.test.js.
Sorry, is that a question or?
No.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Okay, so display new node, blah 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 blah.
No, just start from beginning.
Yeah, no, I have look first.
So that's your specification file, if I'm correct. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
So currently, I can test two cases. The first one, manually entering the URL and clicking on the link. I will start with manually entering the URL. So I think before we write a test, we need to understand what we expect, and try to come up with the closest possible way to simulate it. For example, manually entering the URL. I think that there are many ways of doing that. You can, in an existing tab, you type a new URL. This is one case. Or you create a new tab, you type URL. Or you create a new window, you type in a new URL. So they can have different situation. But I just start with a simple one. So I think you may be familiar with maybe I make smaller. So describe a new node, whatever it is, and then at the end you have some it for it what is it called? Test spec or
Yeah,
test
spec. Yeah.
So you can see here. Oh, let me try to run it first. It failed or not.
This is not using sign in or sign in Chrome, right?
No, it doesn't.
This is just Desmond.
It doesn't need.
So
extension?
it's basically not using any fake API Chrome. It's using real Chrome APIs.
Okay.
Yeah.
How can I open extension?
You want to? You could do this. You want to?
That's the
Yes.
the latest one.
Yeah. Maybe just reload. Do a reload.
Yeah, if you go
that's
back.
yours. Yeah.
So when you click on the option, yeah, it's success. I will tell you why I'm a bit worried about that. When you see this page load a little bit longer. Okay, so you can see here we had to choose back. A new node should appear on the history map when the new URL is manually entered. Now, I will show you how we test this thing.
Like I was trying, I could not get the code right.
If I don't know, because you may have some code, some changes in your version, in your
Branch.
working version. But if you go to the web version, then you should get it.
Okay.
I think the latest version is the rebuild branch, and not say the your branch, which is the rebuild Misha branch. So you need to change the branch if you want to check out the latest code. Or otherwise, if you just want to look at it, you can see from the GitHub webpage.
So I'm opening the GitHub webpage, send map extension, and if you click on the branch, you select rebuild.
Oh, like have you uploaded this code
Yeah.
on Rebuild?
Yes. It's in the rebuild branch.
As you see on my screen, I just select rebuild branch, and
So
my commit is there. Working test code example, so it should be there.
Pending test.
In the test folder, it has a spec folder, yeah. On is there.
But if you want to run on your local computer, you need to switch branches before it can, yeah.
So you click on rebuild and then you just sync it, right, to get the files.
Okay, let's go. We'll go back to the actual test. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
So,
do you want to put this on in the half so you can show the browser as well?
No.
Okay.
Just this one. Let me try. In order to test this thing, what I think of is that we need to open a new tab with some URL, because I think that is the a fair way to simulate the manually enter.
Okay.
Do you agree with me?
I mean, do you actually have to open the new tab or?
So, as I said at the beginning, you have several ways of entering a URL. You can enter the URL in your existing tab. You can open a new tab and enter a URL.
But these are two separate things. You can separate.
Yeah. But I just start with very simple one, because I know that in the code in Chrome, this is the normal Chrome extension. You can create a new tab. So this is the code to create a new tab with a specific URL.
Yeah. Okay.
Do you get this? So this function.
Yeah, I understand this.
Yeah.
Creates a
So first you write the test case. You write what you want to test, and then you try to think of how you can simulate this. And I think this is a fair way to do that. You call Chrome tab create, and you put some URL. This will create a new tab for you.
Okay, yeah, maybe I'll explain the code inside here.
So chrome.tab.create, the parameter you need to put in is a URL.
Yeah.
Doesn't it like throw any error over here? Something like Chrome, like when I was trying to do something like this, it was throwing an error like Chrome not defined or tabs not defined,
Yeah.
function not defined, basically.
Yes. Did you put really? Okay.
But that should be in the test.html, right? It loads in tests.html.
Did you include this Sinon Chrome?
No, like earlier, like with Sinon Chrome, I was trying just for past 2 days, but even before that, when I was not including it, then like I had to manually create stubs to make it recognize these functions.
Oh.
Like maybe I would have been doing something wrong. I'll try it again, like take a reference from your code maybe.
I don't know exactly why it's wrong, but this one is working, so you can maybe start with this
Yeah.
one.
But
Okay,
let's say,
yeah.
so basically, I think Feng's saying is you do not need to import any extra JavaScript libraries to start using Chrome APIs. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Because if in the test file, if you include the Sinon Chrome, then that one, the Sinon Chrome, will override the normal Chrome. Then you cannot test using the original.
But won't we have to import it first in our file, like in our spec, or does it automatically get imported?
It automatically. You don't need to include anything from the Chrome extension.
That makes sense. Because I had something similar like that. Because I was using the Sinon dash Chrome, and whenever I tried calling it, it was on the file. Okay, all right, that makes sense. Wow.
That's why I say, hey, no need Sinon Chrome, and you need to remove it because you can say I create two HTML file. In this file, you leave it.
Yeah. So later on, so there will be another examples with Sinon.
Yeah. So now I just wanted to show you an example without Sinon Chrome, and that's why we need to uncomment these two lines.
Okay.
Need to comment these two lines.
No, let's open it again. Yeah, I think you double click, otherwise it closes. No, next one.
Okay. So the reason I run this code, if you use Sinon Chrome, you cannot run this one because Sinon Chrome will just create a stub function and it doesn't have any real functionality. But this one is original Chrome. Therefore,
The real Chrome.
the real one, so you can do whatever you want. You can create a new tab with a manual URL. This is a variable I put it here. So I expect that it will create a new tab with this URL, manual URL.
Okay.
Active phones, by default, active will be true, which means that when you run this code, it will create a new tab and it will switch the focus to that tab.
Yeah.
I don't want that. I don't know. Yeah, but it's like that. And then it will execute something here. Let me. Let me try to, because currently this file has two test cases. Maybe I can comment the link case so that it made it easier for you to understand. I comment out this. For the first case, what you need is only this line.
No, you mean for one of these specs, or is that?
Yeah.
Okay, so which steps? So we're now looking at the second. Okay.
So because the test is want to test that when you enter a new URL, do you see that thing on the history map or not? So I simulate this part. When a new URL is manually entered, I replace that with this file. So it will create a new tab with the Middlesex ICUK URL. Let me comment everything else. So now, when you run this code, what will happen? It just create a new tab, right? Because every other thing's already commented. Just want you to verify that. If I refresh this, you can see a new tab is opening here.
It's a real one.
It's a real one. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
What about test?
Did you get it? It's failed because
Oh.
there's nothing here. So do you all get this now? The row of this line, it create a new tab.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Okay. So how do we test it? In order to test it, we need the program browser. This is where it comes from. It come in. Actually, this is a quite tricky one to test. In Jasmine, okay, let me. It's quite tricky.
But the first you can explain. So
Yeah,
basically,
yeah.
this line, you recreate. Basically, you load the browser provenance.js file, and
Yeah.
you send it. Just say as. You just say send dispatch a message, say data change, and that's the data you have. So this is exactly what we have seen so far.
Yeah. So I want to simulate what happened in the controller file. So if you remember here, we create this browser object. And when you create a browser object, whatever content in this file will do the data capturing for you. And when it captures some data, it will find the data chain event, and then you will get the data you want. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
Yeah. So what we will do is we try to repeat the process. So we create this object and we listen to the data chain.
Uh-huh.
If we receive something from that Ronan thing, then it's actually working. Because we cannot open the history map browser, history map window. Currently, we couldn't do that. So, and we want to do it automatically. So we will not do something like, okay, you write a new tab and then you look at the history map, you see one note, there's nothing there. We will not do that. We think of automatic way. We think of an automatic way to test it.
Yeah. So.
By verifying that, after you create a new tab, which is to open the Middlesex website, did you get something back or not?
Okay.
Just do do you get it?
Yep.
So basically, what's the phone saying is, the Jasmine code will call the Chrome API function to this one to call the Chrome API function to create a new tab with a particular URL, and then it runs the browser provenance file, this one, and just to check if the object returned, the action object returned by this browser provenance.js contains exactly the same URL as you use to create a new tab.
And it basically changes the case manual URL and case link to true. Therefore, we can test that.
It's not there yet. You don't. It's not there yet. I can explain those true things later.
Yeah.
But the idea is, I think, in summary, we try to simulate what actually happened in a controller file, and then we test it. So we expect that because we know that in a browser provenance, I don't care what happened here, we will get something from the dispatch.datachain function. Right.
I have a question. So, like, if you go to this browser provenance spec.js file in the tests folder.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, why is this particular code throwing an error that Chrome is not defined and not that one?
Sorry, I have no idea why. First, I haven't run your code yet. I could not say why.
Okay. Okay.
But
But
I can
like,
apparently I can see one problem is that there may be not any function called send message.
Yeah.
If it had, it should be M capital case.
No,
can
Maybe.
you just try to run it once so
but
that I
that's
can be
probably
sure?
not a real function. So the Chrome tabs is real one. Dot update. Dot send message. I don't think those are real functions. I remember typing this here just as examples.
Yeah. I think what Kai meant here is that somehow to get the Chrome tab send something, but the syntax is not correct.
Okay.
But you can, for example, you just do here, say tabs, create a new tab. You to create a new tab here manually, just run it and think it will work.
Yeah, it
Yeah,
will work.
I think that's the question from Amisha. So if we just use exactly the same line here, it probably will work.
Yeah, it should be like that.
Yeah.
But just this
Because
line is not.
when
It's not.
I was like, I did not change it, and I was just trying to see if this particular file is running properly or not. And what I was getting was that Chrome not defined. So like that is why I was trying to somehow incorporate sign in Chrome over here, hoping that like Chrome would be defined then. But like after seeing your code, I got confused that how is this not working, but that is working.
Okay, can you just copy your code of the create?
I'm sure it will work, but why do we need to make sure this will work? I think we can completely forget about that because it has nothing here,
Okay.
right?
Okay.
We don't need to be bothered about this file.
Okay.
So let's get back to this file. So luckily we have this one working, so I think we can build on it.
Okay.
So as we expect something return, which is this action, and we know that in the action we can do some deeper verification because we know that this action should contain the URL. So we can verify that if the URL is the same URL as we enter, which is Middlesex UK.
Yeah.
Do you get it? Like, so the action object will return like this one. Or we can even, at the beginning you can log the whole action just to examine what is in there, for example. But what I did here is that if action.url, I make sure that the action URL equal to the manual URL here. I create a variable here so that I will not make any mistake because it's used twice.
Case.
The reason I set it to true, I can explain it a little bit later.
What is it?
Maybe I can explain it now.
But can we pass? Can we fail this test? Can you fail this test now? Like right now, you're passing the same URL, this one, Middlesex one. Can you basically use some other one and fail this test?
Yeah, I can fail it. Actually, it's really stupid. You can even just remove this line. It will fail.
Okay, test.
No, it's still you have to enable the other things to uncomment the other things to get it.
No, it's not done here. Okay. Let me show. So you can see it failed. It expected phones to be truthy. I tell you the reason why it failed. We can print out what is the value of this action URL.
Yeah, and the manual.
And the manual one. and then we look at it on the console. You can see it doesn't have a forward slash.
Okay.
The reason somehow if you open the website with this URL and then the URL you got from this thing, somehow it put a forward slash at the end.
Then it should pass. So for example, if you do it now and open a new tab without a slash, it should then be like okay, right?
If I put the forward slash back, then it will pass.
No. If you open a new tab now, no need to change anything over here. Go to the new tab. Go to the browser.
No. The reason it failed because it compared two URLs. It compared two URL. This one is a URL that we manually enter.
Yeah.
And this one is a URL somehow returned by the code. And this URL had a forward slash at the end. Okay. It's just like somehow it added a forward slash at the end.
Okay. Awesome.
Yeah, okay.
So it failed. That's the reason it failed.
Yeah.
Okay, so now the reason I explain a bit more. The reason I need to do this thing, if you notice, I need to do this thing inside the before all. In Jasmine, it's called asynchronous testing. Because if you just do these things inside it here, if you do these things like you create a new tab here, and then if you put this code inside the test, it will fail. The reason because it will execute these lines of code and then it directly execute this expect. But when you create a new tab, it takes some time for the tab loaded. And then it will go through the data chain thing. So it's asynchronous. That's why we need to use asynchronous test instead of directly. If you do things like that here, if you put this here, you create a new tab, and then you do things like this. You say if you expect, if you do things like this, you expect I don't know, expect the action URL
equal
or to be equal, I don't know, whatever the syntax will be. Manual URL, it will fail because the reason it failed because it runs this line of code and then it runs this one and then it will run the expect immediately.
Okay.
So that's why we need to use asynchronous testing.
But that would be okay in silo.
No either.
So even in silo, you still have to use asynchronous.
So like to ensure asynchronous testing, we should like strictly put all our requirements outside the specs.
Requirement outside the spec. I'm not sure what you mean, but we put the code. Yeah, we put our code. So let's say.
Yeah, maybe you just show which part is about asynchronous. So
normally we write a lot of testing code here, but you need to make sure that when you run this code, on the page it should be loaded and then it execute whatever data chain here. So that's why I can explain again here. I put this thing into before all. Then it will execute this code before on the test. Okay, and you need to put the done parameter here,
Okay.
and then you call the
Yeah.
done function when you think everything is done.
Oh, so like once all the dones inside this function are called, only then this function is executed.
Yeah, let's say if I run the test now,
So,
you say it wait like 5 seconds because it's not, you don't call the done function, so it wait for 5 seconds. It's a asynchronous callback was not invoked within timeout. So you will fail the test
Okay.
because it expects the done function to be called. So you need to call done function when you think you finish. And I guess like you can call the done function here when you expect something from the data change. Does it make sense?
Okay.
Okay. So that's how we do the test for the first one. Yeah, it passed now. One problem, I'm not sure if the problem or it should be like that, is when you do the real testing with the real thing like this. This morning when I try it again, the internet connection is not very good, and then it takes maybe 5 or 6 seconds to load the Middlesex website. Then it means that it will exceed the timeout from the sign on from the Jasmine, and then it will fail.
Okay. But is that something you can change?
I think yeah, that parameter of course you can change
Yeah.
the timeout.
Mm.
Then
But
you can
if we use Sinon Chrome, yeah, say again.
I'm saying then you can use the condition of like when a URL is completely loaded, then basically go for checking.
You mean changing the code you're talking about changing the code in the browser provenance file?
In the test section, we may need to basically wait again, just like we wait for the complete URL to load. Maybe for testing, even we will need to wait and check whether a URL is completely loaded, then basically confirm whether a case is false or correct.
Yeah, as I by default it wait like for 5 seconds. If you don't
Okay.
call the done function, it will run the test. Then of course, yeah, you can write explicit code to ask it wait for 30 seconds before it fail.
I think the point is that even you call the down function, it will still time out after a certain time.
Yeah. No.
Is it?
Because like I say, it takes 10 seconds to run the Middlesex file.
Yeah.
It means that it's 10 seconds for the code to jump into here to code it done.
Yeah.
But in Jasmine, it only waiting for 5 seconds before it fail.
Yeah. So even you have done, it will still time out.
Yeah,
that's
because
the point.
it failed before you code it done.
Yeah.
But we can increase the timeout. That is simple.
Yeah, but I mean that's also the reason why sometimes you want to use sign-on, so you don't have
Exactly.
to wait actually the page for load and
That's the reason why I mentioned that, because I want to lead you to the Sinon Chrome.
But do you want to talk about the other tests back here?
Maybe not yet, because in a Sinon Chrome I only have the manual case, so maybe to make it continuous.
Okay.
Um,
And okay, is everyone okay for time?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, that's fine. Just in case if anyone needs to leave early or something. But if it's all fine, then we continue.
do you have any question for me to take a break?
No, so far it was clear.
Yeah.
Okay. So now I will go to the testing without with Sinon Chrome. So I'm opening the test Sinon Chrome. The only difference is that you include these two files. Okay. I create a new file, a different file as well. Not Sinon Chrome, not data.js. So we can go to this file to see what's inside. Yeah, so I just do the same thing before all. So you do this thing. So the only difference is that you cannot call the Chrome tabs.create function. You can call it, but it will not create a new tab for you. So instead of calling that function to create a new tab, what we need to do is to you open a new tab yourself. You open a new tab yourself. And we need to simulate what exactly happened when you open a new tab, whatever a tab is. And when you run the extension, you run the extension, you open some URL, and then you go to the browser provenance file, because you can see that here. What we expect is that we expect the tab created, but sometimes you don't create a new tab, right? You can just enter the URL directly in the currently open tab, and then it expects that function. So what we will do is that because we cannot call the tab create function, but what we can do is to dispatch an event when that tab is created. The reason we will do that because when we do that, it will go into this code. Because here you listen for the tab updated.
Right.
So we can directly call this function, and when we can pass information as we want. Okay, let me say it again. We know that when you open a new tab, the code will execute this function with this parameter, some tab ID, change info, and the tab object. So in Sinon Chrome, we can find this function. We can find this event with these parameters. So we manually do whatever it happens when you create a new tab.
Oh.
For
And we
example,
can't
I
do
can demonstrate
without
this process.
Sinon Chrome.
Sorry?
And we can't do this without Sinon Chrome.
I think you can.
Without?
Yeah.
No, I don't think. I'm not sure. But Sinon Chrome allow you to do that. Allow you to put some parameter. It's called manual event triggering.
Yeah.
So you can trigger your own event.
You can always write your own event dispatch code. Basically, you can write your own stub or something, but then that's the whole point of using Sinon Chrome is saving you to rewrite your own for all these different methods.
What I'm doing here is because, like let's say, you don't know what you will receive when you open a new tab, right? But you want to simulate that. Then you need to log all of the information, and then you can trigger it manually. So what I'm doing here is I just log those information. I just want to see if I open a new tab with that URL, what actually happened. Because I need those parameters so that I can pass it in the test file. You get what I mean? Because I need to pass those parameters here to simulate the process. So I just log the information here.
Does that make sense? Or
I'm still not clear about the distinction.
Okay. I can try to explain.
Using and not using Sinon.
Okay. So following is good, but basically, what this does. So this is now because we're using Sinon Chrome, and this one will be actually all the methods from Sinon Chrome, not actual Chrome. Okay. So this is the one method from Sinon Chrome. What it does, it triggers this event. Tabs or update events.
Okay.
So basically, for the sense map extension, it will receive an event notification just as what you would receive from Chrome. So basically, these line of code will be triggered. But what also the signal Chrome controls and this kind of information that you receive from the message or from the event.
Okay.
So what phone did is say, okay, I'll set these particular information. Oh, from T is defined here. Okay, so this will be a copy of the real object or tab object you received from Chrome, and you just copy paste here. And okay, it says when I trigger this tabs update event using signal Chrome, and the return or object sent with the message or the event will be these, which is defined here. So in the browser provenance code, so you will still get these functions, these tab ID changing for and tab, exactly same as you define here. So that will be the tab ID, the sense map or the browser provenance.js receives. That will be the changing for object it receives. This will be the tab object it receives. Okay, and then the rest of the code will just do as what before. So it will based on those information, creating new code or update a node, etc., etc.
Okay.
Does that make sense? No.
Yeah.
So yeah, basically once you, and then if you want to test other websites, you can just say update these information for other things. You can keep on using this to send it to the sense map and then test if it will respond correctly. So I think, and Feng didn't quite mention, but say previously, what we didn't include in the examples is this line. So we included the sign-on library, that's fine, but we didn't include in this line, or at least I didn't, which includes the sign-on Chrome library. You need both. And then when you write the code here, so all these things, Chrome methods or API functions will be replaced by sign-on Chrome. Obviously, dispatch is something new. Only from sign-on Chrome allows you to simulate the fact when you're sending a message. Does that make sense now? Or?
Oh yeah, makes sense.
Okay.
Yeah.
So where were you now?
Yeah. So is there anything else you want to?
So you explain this.
Yeah. I think that makes sense now.
Okay.
So this is the actual simulation part when you simulate
So
update event in Chrome. Yeah.
So you can see now here all the information that I got from the console log, and maybe this line can be useful. So you can log. You need to log on these three parameters.
Okay.
Did you try to run?
No.
Um,
You have to change the test file link.
So from here, if you change the URL to sinon Chrome, yeah, it's successful. If you change to this file, then yeah, you just see that it logged three things here: the tab ID, the object for the change info, and this is the object for the tab. This is what I log here.
Yeah.
So basically, you see that when you open, no, it's not.
No, that's what you copy paste into the test code, right?
Browser. Yeah. But what I mean, because when you do that, even before this test, so you can do like you open this thing, and you so this is the background file.
What do you want to do?
I want to No, because I want to see this log.
Yeah.
I want to see this log.
Then we have to open the dev
Because-
tools in the history map.
I want to see this log, but how can I say it? And I need to run the extension.
Yeah.
I need to run the history map so that I can see the log inside the history map.
Right. You can. I mean, you can see it in the console actually.
You can see the log here.
Yeah. No, I think okay. I think they get it how to create an object for other web URLs. I think they get that part. They just tend to copy paste from the actual running the sense map.
Yeah, but I mean, where can you get the log? Then you can get the log by opening a new tab, and then you look at the history map console, and then you can get this information.
Yeah. That's okay.
And you can also, so this line may be a little bit easier. Because it will log as an object. So this one, it will log as a string, so that you can copy the whole string. You can log it as a string.
Okay.
It will return a string, and you can just pass the whole string here, and you say here as an object.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So
Yeah.
as I say here, when you learn your test, you can try some log here that you can get the information. But when you finish, you need to delete all of this code, because we shouldn't leave any testing code in the main code. So we don't write extra code in the main code just for testing.
But can we just comment out or actually delete it?
Maybe eventually you will have a lot of comments like that. Because I think that the reason we need to log something just to make sure that we write.
Just a second. So, Papa, I'm gonna call.
Papa.
I'll be there in 10 minutes. I'll be there in 10 minutes. No.
10 minutes, yeah.
Dinner time?
Hey, well, apparently I have to leave in 10 minutes for somewhere.
I think
that's fine.
we are not there.
Yeah.
Okay. So the same thing, you could run this dispatch, and then the same code continue. You can expect something from the action, and then again you can call it done when it's done.
Yeah. So if you want to simulate, say, node, so tab creation, so you just do the same, except say chrome.tabs. So chrome.tabs.uncreated.dispatch. Something.
Yeah.
The same thing. You should simulate, say, node tab creation event.
I think dispatch is a function from Sinon Chrome.
Yeah.
It create that function for you to create a manual event.
Yeah.
So everything like this thing you can dot dispatch, and then you put the parameter. And for onCreated, as you can see here, onCreated only accept one parameter, which is the tab object. It depends on that here what. I think the most difficult thing here is somehow you need to translate from this English sentence to the code here. How do you do this? For example, here I expect that I just update a tab. If I want to open the new tab first and then enter the URL, you think of different scenarios that can happen. Then you can have different for some different it for this case for different cases.
Mm-hmm.
And here I can explain. I think I haven't talked about this even in the previous test. The case manual URL here, because I need to verify, because actually what I need to do is I need to verify this manual URL equal to this thing. But because I don't have any access to that action from here, so that's why I just create a variable called case manual URL, and by default it's false, it will be true if that's true. So that the test code is super simple. Just expect that to be true.
Basically, I mean, the testing done is already done.
Yeah, exactly. Here you just do the expectation.
But can you just put, say, the action here after the, say, the case menu URL? You define that.
Which action?
No, instead of, can you define the action here? So you have a variable.
Called action URL.
Yeah, called the variable, called action. And you could just be an object that is empty, and here you give it a value and pass it to this.
Yeah, you can do it the same way. You can do that, yeah, but
Then you can actually do the testing in it, not in the before all.
yeah, but it's similar. What you do
Yeah.
instead is just to compare the two values. You can either do this way, from here and there. But here is something from Sinon Chrome that I see in the examples in Sinon Chrome that is usually they do. For example, you can check if that function called once or not.
Yeah.
Because we expect that when you dispatch this thing, then inside it needs to respond for that function.
Yeah.
So that is something extra, and you can do the testing.
So that's basically the spy, right?
Did the
This
spy.
is spy, so it tells you what function being called, how many times.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you can do this extra thing if you like. Otherwise, you can just do the very last step.
So for the last line,
We never created a spy for this function, right?
oh no, I mean it uses the same information, but it doesn't use literally the spy function from the Chrome. Oh, sorry, from the Sinon.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's using the same information. And for the last line, is that assertion using Sinon or using Jasmine?
You Jasmine.
That's the Jasmine.
Mm.
So basically, there's two. You can use both the assertion from Sinon and from Jasmine. You can mix them.
The reason I have this one because I also use it in the without Sinon. So I use Jasmine syntax.
Where would be the good place to look at the assertions for
Sinon.
Jasmine and Sinon?
In the documentation.
Just the API document. Okay.
Should we talk about the linking case?
Which one?
The testing for the link. Because I think I mentioned it today.
Oh, okay.
A few minutes.
Yeah, I really need to leave.
Yeah. I think that
Sorry.
will be okay. You can watch the video recording a bit later on, and we can ask questions if there's. But
Sure. Yeah.
I think the only thing important is for you, we're gonna starting to write actual tests, and for something similar to what Phong created here, write a few more tests. But I think you probably need some bit more time just to learn to understand the code or examples Phong provide first.
Yeah, I think
I think just start
I'll
with-
sit today and tomorrow, and I'll maybe by tomorrow night or day after tomorrow, I'll get clear on how exactly is this code written, and then maybe I can start working on my own specs.
I suggest that you can just start with my example and then make some changes to break it and then to fix it again to somehow to understand the code. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So yeah. See you.
Bye,
Okay,
Michelle.
sorry for leaving in between.
No, it's good.
Hmm.
Okay, for
So-
others, I think I can just quickly go through the linking part. So very similar. First, we write this. We expect that when you click on the link,
Okay.
okay.
She's still there. It's okay. Keep going. Yeah.
So when you click on the link, you expect that I think similar mechanism. When you click on the link, we expect that the data chain dispatch some action, and you compare that action if the same. The action URL is the same with the URL on the link. You click on it, right? But the question is just how can you simulate the link click?
Yeah.
I think that's the more interesting part. And that is what I do. Let's see what I do. I'm not sure that is the best way, the right way, but so you can see the code here. The code inside here, the one that I highlighted. So it will run this code after the tab is created.
Okay.
After okay, simply like after the middlesex ACU type page finish loading, it will execute the script. Do you got it now?
Read A and
Yeah.
show that.
So basically, it's another parameter as a callback function. It will call after, I don't know, whatever the new tab created, then it will call this script.
Yeah,
Okay.
so basically we now go back to native Chrome API functions. So this allows you to run some script once a new tab is created.
Maybe I can show you this so that you can.
I think it's okay.
No, that's fine. It's because it's part of the Chrome API.
Yeah.
Yeah, can quickly
So
show.
that was pretty much clear. But
Okay, that's good. So this is a Chrome tab create. It has
You have
whatever
to make it
object.
bigger. Yeah.
So the first object is I use a URL, and then the second parameter is the callback function. If you specify the callback parameter, it should be a function that looks like blah 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 blah. Okay, so it will execute this script. And what is interesting here is that how can we simulate the link? What I do is I look at the Middlesex web page. Middlesex web page. You never go to Middlesex. Okay.
Why do you go there?
We need to pick a link. Now we need to pick a link that we can click on it.
Okay.
Right. So I think I just look at this link. Our research or whatever link we want.
Is it a link?
It's a link.
Okay.
Yeah. We copy a link address.
Yeah.
We put it here. So that's the link. We want to simulate the link.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What we will do is that we go to this page. What I mean is that we automatically go to this page and grab the link and programmatically click on it.
Yeah.
In order to do this, because in Chrome extension, if you want to run any code in a web page, you need to put that in content script.
Okay.
There are two ways to put the code in content script. One is that you declare it in a manifest file, as what we have originally in the manifest file. We have content script file. Secondly, you can just instruct a script on the fly. Okay.
Yeah. Which is what he did.
Which is what I did here. So it has a function called Chrome tab.execute script. So it will execute execute script has two parameters. One is the ID of the tab you want to run, the code.
Yeah.
And the second parameter is the code you want to run. That which is very sensible, right?
Yeah.
Tab ID, of course, you got it from here. Maybe I can open that file.
I think it's okay. Yeah.
Is it? Can quick look. Yeah, you can execute 3 parameter, the tab you want to run a script on, whatever detail here, and a callback function when I finish running the script.
Mm-hmm.
So tab ID, I got it from the tab here, and in this I use this parameter a code. Then you specify the code that you want to run. So this is the first parameter, this is the second parameter, and the code I want to run is super simple. I just want to select that link. And I use, I don't know what it's called, a function so a standard function to query that link. It's a little bit uncomfortable because you need to write in a text. You cannot do anything, but so you can see here I have that little symbol so that you can write multi-line string. So so basically it can get the link. So the link here will be a DOM element of that link, of this link, of our research link. Okay. And after you get the link, fortunately you can just call link.link and then it will link on the link.
Okay.
To simulate basically the user clicking on it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And then the rest would be changing the variable link click to true, and then we can test basically that.
But
results.
this is a little bit trickier. The reason I have this as because you need to somehow to call the done function when everything is done. And I don't know when I should call the done. Then I say here, because you know that the data chain it can call several times, right? The first time we don't know how many times it will call.
Which one?
The this one.
Data chain.
Yeah.
Okay.
We don't know. So I expect that after you run this script, you set that the link on the delete, so that here we can check if the link and delete you call the done function. And here, actually I see that icon twice. The first time because you enter the manual URL, and then when you click on the link, it run again. So you can see here I do two checks. If the action URL equal to the manual URL, then the first case is true. If it's equal to the link URL, the second case is true as well.
Yeah, really, this needs to be moved into the actual test spec. Yeah, ideally.
But you can see here that now you have several actions. You need to okay, you save it twice or whatever. Yeah.
Sorry, say it again.
We've got an action, it can come twice. Now you cannot have just a single parameter for action.
Yeah.
It will be override.
Okay.
No, it didn't quite get it.
Because previously you suggest that you have the action variable.
Yeah.
But then that code will be run twice. But anyway, it's just some testing. The idea is that if you run into this code twice, because you open two tabs, because you open two web pages.
But I don't quite get the problem. What is the problem?
The problem is that you say that outside you declare an action.
Yeah.
And then you override the action here.
No. Override the action in the actual test. Can you?
How can you have access to this? You need to store it here. For example, you declare variable here. I thought that what you meant. You had a variable and you override here, so that you can, instead of expect that, you can expect what happened? Escape or something. You expect the case manual URL, right, equal to that action one.ul.
I was hoping to run this code inside here.
No, you cannot, because this needs to be put in before all. As I mentioned earlier, asynchronous, you need to run this code inside before all. So normally you write a lot of testing code here, But because asynchronous test, you need to run these things here.
So for asynchronous tests, you cannot put that in the it. It
Yeah.
has to be in before all.
Yeah, because it will run before this thing finish. Then of course you cannot check anything.
No, but say in the it, can you use done? Can you have
No.
done?
The done need to be called here because the done is just a parameter from the before all. You need to call the done here,
There's no equivalent of done for it.
not inside it, not inside the it.
Okay, but that's something we can. Yeah, how? Okay, then we can discuss a bit later. If we can do asynchronous things inside it.
But anyway, yeah, that's how you do.
Yeah. Because we don't have all the tests inside before all. Essentially, so now you run basically put all the test code in the before all now. This is basically you don't even need it.
But you need some kind of assertion.
Yeah. But really, the actual running the tests, say
Yeah,
this
yeah,
is
exactly.
testing should be here rather than in the before all. Before all is really just meant to set up. Say set up, for example, the browser object, so it can all function and can be called later on. But anyway, and I think for now, just use this.
Yeah, so you get an idea. I think in this step, the tricky part is that how you simulate that link click, and that's how I came up with. Yeah. So
Okay.
that's it's pretty much similar to the manual case, but it's a little bit trickier.
But then for the link clicked, can you do that with Sinochrome?
I haven't thought of that. I don't know how you can
Yeah.
do that, but maybe because you somehow you need to find some. I don't know if it's possible to do that.
Yeah.
Maybe we have something similar.
Okay.
Right.
Because I think using Sinon, we cannot, maybe we will not be able to do that close simulation. Maybe we have to open another link instead of.
Or you need to
What?
say a Chrome API which tells you a link is clicked. If there's such API in Chrome, then you can do the similar things. You can simulate that API event got triggered and what is sent back.
I'm not sure because let's say in Sinon Chrome, you still need to run this one for the new tab of that link.
Oh, no. You could, without doing this. So if all you need is just test, the link is clicked, and you get correct URL, and you don't need to test what the browser problems.js does. You just say, okay, that's received the correct URL, and you can do whatever it does, which is the same as you manually entering a URL. The rest.
I don't know yet, but if we need to think more if we want to use Sinon Chrome.
Okay.
We need to
Yeah,
find
we can. Yeah. So for Rita and Shadab, any questions from you?
Not really, but I have a theory for doing the on-click, and you said that you can't do it on Sinon. What if we overwrite the information that we faked by Sinon? So, for example, what I'm trying to say is like, right, we opened a new tab and wrote middlesex as the URL and simulated that we clicked on it, right, using Sinon. What if we take that information and then manipulate it at a later point? For example, after you created the tab and then tell Sinon, right, we've opened another tab and then override it. Wouldn't that kind of simulate closing it? Do you think that could work?
I don't think I quite get it.
I think it works, but then you miss the linking part.
Oh, true.
What you test is that you open two tabs in a go, right? One tab and then you open a new tab.
Okay. Right. Sorry, it was just a theory. I wasn't sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, everything's been clear so far.
I think we may be able to do that if we look at the code that how we trigger the link, and we need to somehow to get that in Sinon Chrome, like dispatch a link event, whatever.
Okay.
But somehow I feel that I still prefer testing without Sinon Chrome.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, because with Sinon, you may pass certain parameters like the way you were passing the tab complete information JSON string. But at the end of the day, when it comes to real time and the way the data is like keep changing, because then you will need to you cannot really like what should I say, you cannot really simulate that sort of environment with Sinon. I think it'd be better if you use actually without the Sinon.
I think we need to use both. So obviously not using Sinon is closer to the real world, but we probably will start with the Sinon Chrome.
The reason why I say that Sinon is actually not very much closer to the needs is because you may test out the very basic actually stuff, but when it comes to advanced testing, I don't think so you can achieve that with Sinon. I
Yeah.
mean,
So
redirection, even with just the redirection, you cannot achieve that with Sinon. Plus, even this information that you actually completely now I mean, you are passing it all together once the page is loaded. What happens when you come to a case when there are like a page when it loads for 10 seconds, or a page when it loads for 2-3 seconds and then redirect to something else?
yeah. So I think these are two used for different scenarios. For example, if you want to automate testing lots of things, for example, open 100 different URLs, you probably don't want to use. You probably want to use Sinochrome, because in the real world, you open 100 URLs in the tab and do the testing. It will take too long and probably crush the whole thing. So in those kind of cases, you're probably using Sinochrome. But if you want to say to test, I think you mentioned the redirection, which is only controlled by the server, and if it might be difficult to simulate in Sino, then maybe using without the Sinochrome. So yeah, so that we probably need both, but for different cases.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, I think
Okay.
the reason they use stub for unit testing, so you don't really consider much about the real server, or sometimes it like 10 seconds, sometimes it like 20 seconds. That is for higher level of testing, not unit testing. Maybe like you want to test the functionality. So when you want to test those functionality, you need the real behavior. But obviously, it seems that Sinon Chrome, the stub testing is quite limited, or we don't know much to say simulate the link, even the link click, or simulate the redirection.
Yeah.
If we know that, I think it's good to do that, because the test will be very quick. But it seems that we don't know, and we need to move on.
So So I think we'll start with Sinochrome. For the things we can use Sinochrome, and for the things we can't, then we just run without it. Run it in the real browser. But usually those ones are probably go beyond unit testing stage now. Okay.
I think, let's say if we want to compare Sinon Chrome and without Sinon Chrome, for this one, I just create a new tab. So you know that the tab updated, it can run twice, it can run once, because if the server is very quick, then it only updates the tab only one. If it's slow, then it can, it write a URL first, 10 seconds later it write the icon, and then write a title, then we don't really know that should we dispatch one and not dispatch twice. I think I think Sinon Chrome we make you need to write a lot of things, but maybe you can cover different cases explicitly.
So basically, if you're not using Sinochrome, again there will be lots of new things you cannot control, so like a server, how long it takes to load, how many update events you get from the Chrome browser. Again, so this is, as said, it's more high level. Probably I would say leave to a bit later. Once it's past the basic test, which is using Chrome, and then we can go on to the more real environment to see how it works.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, and so I think now comes the last bit, or maybe second last bit, is just to say what we're going to be doing next week, or maybe next 2 weeks. So for Shazam, I probably will need to work with you a little bit more on changing the logic in the browser providence code, .js code.
Okay.
And I committed some changes into your branch.
Okay.
And I think I did not actually really change the logic that much because I realized, and in many cases, I just call it different names, the variables. But some of the logic does change. For example, currently how they respond to different update events.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I was hoping to respond to all the update events and create the nodes in the history map as soon as information comes in, for example. Okay. So let's work on that. And for reday,
Yes.
I assume you will need a little bit of time actually to understand the examples Phong provided today, just as Amisha.
Yeah, I understood everything so far.
Yeah, and after that, maybe you can start creating the unit test for the browser providence.js.
Yeah, I'd love to.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I think when you create new test, just create a new test file. Don't
I'll probably
make
just
any
use your
changes in the
file and add
existing
this
file.
more